Hey everybody, it's GobletX, and welcome back to another Artifacts Remix draft. Without further ado, let's get into our pack 1, pick 1. We've got a very fun rare here, the Corsair Captain. It's going to give us a treasure token when we play them, as well as giving all of our pirates +1/+1. So it's kind of a blue-red build around, because that's where all the pirates are in the format. But I do think the pirates are pretty nice in a set with a bunch of artifacts. This is kind of narrow, though. It's basically a blue-red card. Since there aren't really any pirates in the other colors, so could be a little too restrictive, and maybe it's better to just take the best mono-colored card like Arcbound Tracker here. The modular creatures just play really well when there's so many artifact creatures. Third best card in the pack, probably like Weaponcraft Enthusiast here. Out of black, it's great in a sack deck, and this gives you 3 different permanents to sacrifice. So Captain, Tracker, Enthusiast here I think are the best picks, but I'll go with the Captain and see if we can end up in blue-red pirates. And pick 2, getting past the Goblin Engineer is sweet. Definitely a solid reason to try to head into red. This card is very good in this set. You can sacrifice a treasure token or a clue token or something to reanimate an actual artifact from your graveyard. It does have to be something with mana value 3 or less, but it's still excellent value to sack tokens to do that. It's also really good value with any unearth cards, because you can search for them, shove them in your graveyard when you play this, and then unearth it, sack the unearthed card, and permanently bring something else back. So Goblet Engineer has a lot of really good combos and very solid ways to play them. Pick number 3, we are still pretty happy to be playing red, because now we get Kellen the Fey-Blooded. This is a red-white card specifically. That's where it plays really well. 2 mana to search your library for an aura or equipment, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then play a 2/2 double striker to slap that equipment onto. But yeah, it's really, really solid in red-white, so we'll take that. If we don't see the pirates flying around, we can go Boros instead of blue-red. I think that is definitely the strongest card in the pack. Alternate options are like Vault Scourge, because it's really good to throw modular +1/+1 counters onto, or like Bone Splitter style cards onto. And if we had went for the Black Sacrifice deck, Confectioner is another great card for that, giving you multiple tokens off the one card again. Pick 4, really happy to take Arcbound Tracker. We're much deeper into red than any other color, with 2 red rares already, and Arcbound Tracker is one of red's best commons, probably the best common creature. If you can spam a bunch of spells in one turn, you get extra counters onto it, and even if you can't, the modular ability, again, just plays really well, so we'll take that. Bone Splitter is another really high pick just for its flexibility, so top 3 are Tracker, Bone Splitter, and Citizen's Arrest for removal. But I'm taking Tracker. Pick number 5 now. I don't think we really want to be green-red, ideally, because if we're playing red, we are doing artifact synergy stuff with Goblin Engineer and Arcbound Tracker, and green doesn't really do any artifact synergies. So while the strongest card is Ridgescale Tusker by quite a bit, it's not really going to fit with a lot of the strongest cards we've drafted so far. That said, there's really nothing else in the pack that we're going to end up playing anything. Everything else is quite mediocre. So it's speculate on Dross Forge Bridge, or take the Tusker and probably don't end up green-red anyway. Yes, Tusker is the best card, so we'll still just take it there. Pick 6, we've got a Research Desk, which is an unearthed artifact to go with Goblin Engineer. It's not one of the better ones, though, because you're supposed to sacrifice this to get the value off of it. With the unearthed creatures, those play a lot better with Engineer, and I think Mono Skellion plays pretty well. There's tons of playable 1 toughness cards in the format, so being able to shoot one of those off of this is great, and there are ways to get more +1/+1 counters onto this and shoot even more cards with like Arcbound Trackers Modular and Iron Apprentice and stuff like that. So I like Mono Skellion a lot. Alternatively, again, if we want to go immediately on blue-red pirates and super lock in, there is a Plundering Pirate there, but I think our red is so good we can just stick purely to that for now. Pick 7, Disenchant's not really a reason to hop into white, but we do have Kellen leaning that direction, so if we end up in white, Disenchant is definitely playable. If we end up in blue, Chrome Prowler is playable, but it's not a huge reason to be there. Neither is Skull Bomb. Take the bridge speculatively. I'll just take the Disenchant since we do have the Kellen. Alright, here's Barbed Batterfist. very efficient equipment that comes with a creature, so it's great for an equipment deck, and Kellen kind of wants to be in an equipment deck. This card is also great with Goblin Engineer, because we can just play it as a 2-mana 3/1 and then sacrifice the equipment, so it just plays as a 2-mana 2/2 that also gave us the sacrifice fodder to reanimate something. So lots of great synergies for Batterfist already. Pick 9, we'll take Weaponcraft Enthusiast here, I think. So we do have maybe Black-Red Sack as another place that the Goblin Engineer could be good. I'm just not very high on Glorifier of Suffering. Pick 10, here's a good sack card with Freebooter or Mearsire, either of these good for the sack deck. So if we get past like the Signpost Rakdos uncommon, we could head in that direction. I should take the Pirate here. Alright, a bunch of cards we're probably not playing by the end of the pack, as usual. Alright, pack 2, pick 1. We know we're locked in on red here. Secondary colors, we could be Boros Equipments, we could be Blue-Red Pirates, we could be Rakdos Sacrifice. So what is the best card out of all of those possibilities in this pack? Probably Static Net for great removal in Boros, but alternatively, Arcbound Mouser, if we go Boros Modular instead of Boros Equipment would be pretty good, and Boros Modular would play a little bit better with Goblin Engineer. Just having more artifact creatures. So yeah, I like the Mouser, I like the Static Net. I mean, Static Net's going to be great in literally any white deck, so we'll take that for excellent removal. We don't have any removal except for Disenchant right now. Disenchant's a little bit narrow, even though there are a lot of artifact creatures. Alright, pack 2, pick 2. There's the Rakdos uncommon, but there's also Barbed Spike, which is just busted for an equipment deck. And we've got the Kellen. We'd love to play an equipment deck. This is also great with Goblin Engineer. Yeah, this looks excellent. We'll take Barbed Spike. And we'll take another Barbed Spike. Alright, well, we're locked in. Kellen and Goblin Engineer Boros Equipment, the deck. Seems like a solid spot to be. We're going to have a bunch of equipment, so we don't need vehicles. We're going to be an aggressive deck, so we don't need the double mana ramp of Palladium Mirror. But I think everything else we have is super playable, and our mana curve looks great. 5 2-drops to start off right now. Nice and aggressive, which is where Boros wants to be. Pick 4. Plundering Pirate is fine, even without pirate synergies. Gives us that treasure token to ramp up with, or we can sack the treasure to Goblin Engineer, so that's cool. Recommission is also pretty fine when you have cheap creatures that'll end up in the grave frequently. It's not very good with Batterfists and Barbed Spikes, because those don't end up in the grave. The tokens just disappear. So it looks a little awkward in the deck right now, but like we could sack something to Goblin Engineer, or we could trade off an Arcbound Tracker, then recommission it, so it might be better later, but for now I think Plundering Pirate is the safer pick. We just have too many 2-drops that won't actually end up in our graveyard, and now we're about to get another one with another Barbed Batterfist. Pick 6, Full Shock Splitter. The higher mana value for Mirrodin equipment are super filler, like the Splitter and the Mirren Bardiche. The 4 mana 4/2 and the 5 mana 4/3 Vigilance, those ones are pretty bad. I really like the 2 mana ones like Batterfist and Barbed Spike, but there's nothing else on colors, so I'm just going to throw it in the side for now. We'll put it in if we don't find enough playables, but ideally we won't have to. Third Barbed Batterfist, or first Mortar Pod. I actually really like the flexibility of Mortar Pod. I've only played this in one deck so far, but that was a 7-win Boros Equipment deck, so let's get it back in here. I mean, at the very least, taking it over a third Batterfist I think makes a lot of sense to have some more options in here, but this is very good later in the game when you have enough stuff to sacrifice for it to chip in for the extra damage. You can also play this post-combat to finish something off, and there's plenty of playable 1-toughness creatures. You could just play this and shoot a 1-toughness creature and be perfectly happy. Pick 8, nothing much. We'll take Demand Answers, which I think goes in the deck for now. Pick 9. I don't want to hate draft Fleeting Memories. If somebody can make the Fleeting Memories mill deck, go for it. That'll be fun for them. All right. We are going to need quite a few more playables because we bounced around colors a lot in pack 1. Like, I guess, yeah, we could run a Full Shock Splitter, Palladium Mirror Brute Suit. So technically you were at almost enough playables right now, but I think it's almost certain we'll find stuff that's better than these. Okay. Best card in the format. I actually don't know if it is the literal best, but it is very, very, very high up there. It fits into literally any deck. You play it, it's a removal spell immediately, and then every time you attack with it, not only are you hitting your opponent for 6 damage in the face with a flyer, but you're killing another creature every time it attacks. This card is completely broken. I actually think this format would be slightly better without it, because it's not particularly interesting. It requires like no deck building restrictions or thoughts to make it any good. You just always take it and always play it, and it's always ridiculous. It's one of those kind of bomb level mythics. All right, pack 3, pick 2. Thraben Inspector is really good value with a bunch of equipment. You play it, you get another card draw out of it later with the clue, and you make sure that that body is relevant later, because now it's a 2/1 that trades into 2 power or 2 toughness cards, or you make it a 3/1 maybe if you can double equip it. So I like the Thraben Inspector here over pretty much nothing. I guess there's Ornithopter for mana ramp, but we only have 2 cards that cost more than 3, so doesn't seem like a thing for this deck. Pack 3, pick 3. Scrapwork Mutt is awesome. Get to go fetch for what you need, discard what you don't. If you're flooded out, that's discarding lands to find threats, and if you are mana screwed, it's discarding high mana value spells to look for lands. Take another Arcbound Tracker here. Tracker looks a little awkward for this deck at this point. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifact creatures maybe. That's a little lower than you would want for a modular deck. And we do only have, like, 2 removal spells right now, so Citizen's Arrest over Arcbound Tracker could absolutely make sense. I'm actually going to do that. I think I'm going to try to cut down on the modular theme since we have so many flesh creatures like Rebel tokens and Goblin Engineers and Plundering Pirates and stuff. However, I'll still take Arcbound Tracker over the 5 mana modular card or the 5 mana equipment, so we'll grab Tracker out of this pack. Pick 6, get a Voltage Surge for really cheap removal. Very into that. Harvester would be okay, even though we can't really unearth it without a treasure token, and we only have 1 treasure token. It's just an artifact creature to put modular counters onto. Recommission, again, is a little bit awkward with equipment-based creatures. Mortar Pod, Double Batterfist, and Double Barbed Spike, all of these are creatures we're playing on turn 2 that will not end up in the grave. Pick 7, another Plundering Pirate or Recommission. Perilous Mirror is also okay, but I do think I've got a lot of 2-mana stuff now. Got a lot of 3s too. Yeah, I don't know, I'll still take Plundering Pirate. Pick 8. Perilous Mirror, I guess. 2 damage to something when it dies. Pick 9, Tomb Raider, I guess. Well, 2/2 haste. Now a Song Shaper. We might actually play Song Shaper to make these modular cards a little better. I don't hate that. I don't think we're going to play Gold Warden's Helm. We'll probably got the first copy. I think all of our other 3-mana cards are just better. I don't think we'll play Plated Onslaught either, because we don't really have token production. Yeah, technically we make tokens when we play equipment, but that's just like casting 1 creature spell. When I say token production, I mean cards like Weaponcraft Enthusiast, where it's 3 creatures off of 1 spell. Or cards like Scrapwork Cohort, where it's 2 creatures off of 1 spell, so that you have a really wide board when you cast your Onslaught. We don't have that going on. Every spell we cast is 1 creature. Alright, probably cut Cartographer's Companion here. I don't think there's anything else in Boros we want to put in. Yeah, Gold Warden's Helms and Onslaught, pretty filler. Splitter's pretty filler. I guess for the mana curve we could throw Splitter back in, but it's not going to be exciting. Would be better than throwing a Gold Warden's Helm back in, so let's cut Cartographer's Companion. The only thing I like about that is it's another artifact creature for the Arcbound Tracker nonsense. 2 cards to cut. Let's sort the equipment to the top because all of them come with creatures. I think we're cutting exclusively creatures right now because we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, that is tons. I mean, I wouldn't hate cutting a land either, though, especially with 2 Plundering Pirates to give us that little mana ramp boost to get to the few 4 and 5 mana cards we have in the deck. Yeah, we'll cut a land and a creature. We've got a lot of pretty similarly mediocre cards we could cut here. Splitter and Slasher just being pretty expensive for what they're doing. Demand Answers is quite filler. I think we gotta cut a creature, though, with how high the creature count is. And then that just leads us to being just kind of any of the 2-drops. Song Shaper, although I want to keep that artifact creature count a little higher for the trackers, the modular we have going there. Or maybe a Barbed Batter Fist, but I do like that these are 2 mana 3-power creatures to crew Sky Sovereigns with. And we do have great synergies for those as well, so I don't think we can cut those. Maybe Perilous Mirror, but again, that's an artifact creature for the Arcbound trackers, although modulating up a Perilous Mirror is not particularly good. Maybe a Goblin Tomb Raider, just because it's a flesh creature and not an artifact creature. And Thraben Inspector is certainly better for the value. Yeah, I mean, drop a Splitter or a Tomb Raider maybe, so that we drop specifically a non-artifact creature here. Let's just drop the Splitter. Let's just jump over 4 mana plays and Plundering Pirate into Sky Sovereign every game, shall we? So now we have 13 red cards and 6 white, but we do have double Citizen's Arrest. Luckily, we also have double Plundering Pirate for 2 treasure tokens to help out there. So I am still going to go real heavy on red over white and go 9-7 split. And I think we will call it a deck here. All right, here's the final deck list for today. We're on a little Boros equipment deck here with one of the main build rounds being Kellen the Fey-Blooded. It's going to be an incredible value play no matter what, searching for our best equipment or aura and putting it into our hands. We don't run any auras, but this can grab a Barbed Spike or a Barbed Batter Fist for some pretty great value to make it a 2-for-1 no matter what. Then if we slap all of our equipment onto this thing, not only are we going to have a gigantic double striker, but we're going to give the rest of our board a bunch of extra power as well. So pretty sick stuff from Kellen as the main build around, but we also have Goblin Engineer and plenty of synergy with this. We've got a good amount of artifact creatures to trade off with early and end up in our graveyard, like the Song Shaper, Monoskellion, Mortar Pod, Perilous Mirror, and Arcbound Trackers. And once those end up in the graveyard, we can sacrifice our Barbed Batter Fists or our Barbed Spikes or Clue tokens or an Unearthed Scrapwork Mutt or a Treasure token to get them right back to the board and just keep beating down. So really sweet stuff from our rares here, and they are really the core of the deck that are showing off all of the themes here. Now we can still win games without them. We can still just curve out really aggressively and play some removal to get stuff out of the way, like Vulture Surge, Citizen's Arrest, Static Net, like normal, but those are the unique things going on for this deck. And for something that isn't particularly unique but is incredibly powerful, Sky Sovereign Console Flagship is just a mega bomb that wins the game almost every time, and you don't even really need to build around it. You just kind of cast it in any deck on turn 5, kill your opponent's creature, and then just start crewing it and killing more creatures every single turn. So, pretty busted looking deck, but we'll see how it all actually plays out as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 1. I am going to keep this despite it being mono colored because it has multiple solid plays, especially if we can hit any land and curve into these Arcbound trackers. But if we miss a land for a turn, we still go Song Shaper and a Batter Fist, which is perfectly fine. Botanical Brawler, okay, we could just lose real quick. We do have a good amount of removal in our deck, but no removal in the opening hand, and Botanical Brawler is one of the cards that demands instant removal, or it can quickly take over the game and kill you on turn 4 or turn 5 with the right cards alongside it. I don't think they'd ever make this attack without a combat trick, so I'd rather not trade Song Shaper into a Gaia's Gift or something. Okay, so they're just going to go for the Drown and Ichor post-combat instead. It's pretty frustrating, because that means there's nothing to put the counters from Arcbound Tracker onto, and also, we've hit 2 more mountains still, no plains. So that is not looking good. Now even without a trick, the block is terrible for us. There's Evolving Adaptive. Okay. Wow. Alright. Triple Mountain R draws this game. Awkward. Get our menace damage in and then have a blocker up for adaptive. At least our opponent's not having excellent draws either. They seem to be stuck on mana, but that does mean they have like all spells in hand. Alright, we'll let them guys gift this tracker because we can just move the counters to the other one anyway. Yep. Exactly as I thought. They had the guys gift the whole time. There's the white source, but again, still no removal to kill trackers, so we're still dying pretty quick. Actually kind of need to get Spike on board to have something to move the modular counters to. $11 life. I think I need to attempt to stop Botanical Brawler at this point. I mean, I hit them to 13. They crack back for 6. Only 4 and I block there. I mean, if they have like another Gaia's Gift, this is going to be horrific if I just go for blocks. This is pretty bold, but let's actually try the outrace, I guess. We'll see. I like leaving the Batter Fist on the 3-1 because this way if they evolve the adaptive, I can still trade into it. Otherwise, if they played anything with 3 power, 3 toughness, then the adaptive would just be too big. Anyway, you spider food. It's very good. That gains them life as well to help win the race. So just the Brawler coming in. You got me down to 7. Slasher? Ooh. That means I get to double spell and buff the Arcbound tracker again and also have a 5/5 blocker for Botanical Brawler. Don't mind if I do, right? I could haste it out as well. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? That would be 13 damage. I'd force adaptive to block here. That's probably worth it. Unless they can combat trick me to death with Brawler next turn. But I guess we'll find out. Alright, attack for lethal. So we clear out the adaptive. Put them to 3. Basically, if they don't kill us, they should be dead. Actually, they're in the best colors for dealing with modular creatures, though. They can exile them or pacify them. So they're in some of the only colors that can kill them without getting counters elsewhere. So they're dead because of Menace, right? If I just send both of these in, they can only block one of the 2. Yeah, alright. Close game. Luckily, our opponent just stuck on mana a little too long there. But very, very close fight. And we will start things off 1-0 heading into game 2. Alright, here we are for game number 2 on the draw again. It's a really solid opener. We're just going to cast a bunch of cheap creatures, and then once we run out of stuff to do, we can search for an aura and play Kellen the same turn. Probably save Kellen as like a 5-mana play to get maximum value. We definitely don't want to just run out the tutor on turn 2. We want to impact the board early. Oh, another green-white counters deck with another one of the must-kill threats immediately. Okay, I'm definitely nervous. Let's play the 3-1 first, because even if this gets... Well, no, never mind. I guess even if it gets 1 counter, that means it gets 2. But that means we could double block and kill it. So I guess that does technically work out fine. Okay, so yeah, they put the counter on the other card. That is not a mana, so we are going to play Scrapwork Mutt, discard the 5-mana card, probably. I think that seems fine. Against a green-white counters deck that has a Conclave Mentor on board, we are incredibly unlikely to block well, so I'm not going to hold the 3-1 back. Alright, cool. I could move this to the Inspector. Then I'd have to pay to move it back again to attack with a 3-power creature, but again, they're probably getting counters elsewhere soon, so... Once again, we have like a decent little chunk of removal in this deck, but we're not hitting it. And it is pretty important to stop the big synergy pieces from the counter decks, so that is disappointing that we can't clear out the Mentor with our Voltage Surge or something. We've got Voltage Surge, Citizen's Arrest, Static Net, and Sky Sovereign. I guess the Static Net and the Sky Sovereign are too expensive. And we don't have double white for Citizen's Arrest, so it is literally just Voltage Surge this game. No, the 2-for-1, the Wicked Wolf removal and a 3-3 all in one, and it's really good if they get some food. Unfortunate. There is the 4th mana. Can play the Pirate and put the Batterfist back on our 2-2 to send in for the turn. Still have a 3-power creature up on blocks. Sure. If I live in Magical Christmas Land here, and I get all of my hopes and dreams, I would top deck Sky Sovereign next turn, and we just play the 5-mana vehicle, kill their best creature, and then start killing another creature every turn. That would be Magical Christmas Land. Unfortunately, our opponent gets Magical Christmas Land. Captured by Legax with Conclave Mentor on board is nigh unbeatable. Kill your best creature and get 4 +1/+1 counters. Oh no, and this is a matchup where Disenchant doesn't do anything. I mean, it hits the captured, but that thing already got them 4 +1/+1 counters anyway. The big point is that it's not going to kill any of their threats. That's the big problem. So I have 5 mana available. I can play Kellen and Disenchant, but I can't equip Kellen with anything this turn anyway and hold up the Disenchant, so I think I'm holding off on Kellen, and we're just playing Barbed Spike holding up Disenchant, saving the treasure. Think so. I guess I could move the Batterfist to the Plundering Pirate and still hold up Disenchant, but that's so insanely obvious what I'm trying to do there if I do that. Right, trying to clear out the Conclave Mentor, disenchanting. Let's save the treasure for later. Yikes, wow. Botanical Brawler and Conclave Mentor for the Wombo combo. Okay. You got us. This is a super synergy-driven deck that you gotta stop their combos from popping off, and we did not hit anything that does that, so... we're monumentally dead. Yeah, I mean, I'm not technically dead on board, but there's nothing in our deck that gets anywhere close to turning this around. Except for removal on turn 2 for the Conclave Mentor, but no removal was had. And we are 1-1 heading into game 3. Alright, first game on the play for game 3. Songshaper and a Monoscallion. Looks like the best curve. Especially if they play a 1 toughness creature. That'd be beautiful. Can I not? Can we not? Do we have to play green-white every round? At least we have removal in this hand. But it's the same deck 3 games in a row. And they've got the Monoscallion this time around to get a bunch of damage to throw wherever they need it. I probably have to Static Net the Monoscallion. Yeah, Static Net the Monoscallion, hit for 5. They don't have the mana up for Gaia's Gift right now. But this means if they resolve one of the Signpost uncommons, it's gonna pop off. Conclave Mentor or Botanical Brawler. God forbid they play both like they did last game. Alright, just a 4/4 blocker. 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can only cast 2 spells here, even if I crack my treasure. 2 spells makes Tracker a 3 power creature. We can make Song Shaper 4 power, because we're going to come with 2 artifacts here. Let's go Batterfist then, I think. Got the mana to equip it. Hit for 1 more damage. So that feels good. There's a slight argument towards Monoskellion, and that is that if they blow up Arcbound Tracker with something next turn, then we've got a really good place to move the counters to. But they're green-white, so like 50% of what they would have to deal with Arcbound Tracker would not actually put it in our graveyard. It would exile it or pacify it. That would be any of the white spells. Yeah. So we don't get the counters anyway. At least we made them captured by Legax without any creatures on board. That feels really advantageous. Is this lethal? No, I can put them to 1 if I throw the Monoskellion counter at them. Close, but not quite there. I should probably hold this in hand because we've got to demand answers. Brybridge Tracker, incredible card. 4/3 Vigilance, and you get to draw a card off the clue for only 3 mana. Epic Confrontation, clear out the Plundering Pirate. But they've only got 1 blocker up right now, so we should be able to just attack with both for lethal. And there is the concession. We have defeated the green-white deck this time, so that is a 2-1 record in the draft and a 2-1 win rate against green-white. Here we are for game 4. Tomb Raider into Song Shaper and just play a 3 2-mana 3-power creatures in a row. Sure. We're playing a 1-mana 2/2, and then we're playing a bunch of 2-mana 3/1s and 3/2s. That is certainly a start. Mere Sires. Slightly annoying blocker. It's really annoying for our Batterfists. Our Song Shaper and our Tomb Raider doesn't really care. So we'll definitely start with those. Might actually just play Plundering Pirate next turn then, since it's another creature with enough toughness to not care about the 1 power they have over there. Alright, Opportunist. That's a fine trade for anybody. They'll probably trade the Song Shaper off here. Dang. Yeah, this is an awkward hand for the Arcbound Tracker, so I'm just going to hold off on it. Because if Song Shaper dies, we have nowhere to move its modular counters. We're playing against green-white again, by the way. But this time they're green-white-black, so it should be a little different. Double spell. Probably is worth the double spell. Get rid of this Ulvenwald Mysteries. Before they get their humans. They'll get 2 clues. Yeah. Let's make that 0 clues. And they can order these to where they get a 2/2. I think. Well, I guess not. Nice. Disenchant on Ulvenwald Mysteries might have been enough to help us close out this game here, but then they played a giant 5/5 because they're in green, so never mind. Means the game will continue. I guess they have to double block Arcbound Tracker, and then I can Perilous Mirror Batterfist? No, I'm 1 mana off. I can't put a Batterfist on Perilous Mirror this turn. Okay, so we're just on double Batter Fist, and then next turn we can play a Perilous Mirror and equip it with Batter Fist to shoot whatever we want for 2. No! There's the problem with the Arcbound tracker in this hand. Get nothing from its death. That's very disappointing. Alright, well. If our opponent specifically blocks Tomb Raider with the Tusker, this is bad for us, but I feel like that's pretty unlikely, so we should send in with everybody to get the extra damage in. Ooh. Okay, Gaia's Gift is decent for our opponent, but we're still slightly ahead here. They do get the first draw. Actually, no, we're tied. We're tied, but they get the first draw. Okay, top deck war, we're at 20, they're at 12, but they draw the first card. It's pretty much a 50-50, all dependent on the draws now. It is time to play good old-fashioned war. Just gonna keep taking turns drawing and see who hits the biggest numbers. Currently, opponent has. They just modular onto their mirror with this. Yep, that's pretty gross. That was a 1-1-2, which makes me feel so bad for having Batter Fisted up the Tomb Raider, but I needed it to be able to fight a 3-3. Well, no matter what I do, this trades into Zabaz, right? I attack, they block, boom, that's a 4-4. Where I block, they have this destroy itself, that's a 4-4. Oh, they don't have the red mana to do that. Alright, well then it's better to just hold on blocks. If they don't have the red mana to sack the Zabaz to its own ability. You top deck a trick? Nope. Alright. Okay, so far in the war we have hit 0 and 0. Our opponent has hit 1. Okay. Oh. They might have also hit removal here. That wouldn't be great for me. I'm not equipping any Batter Fists. This way I have a 2-2 to block the 1-1, but they can give it flying if they really want to send it in. Justiciar? Alright. Our opponent has hit 3 mana value in the top deck war. We have hit 3 mana value in the top deck war. Although, they have 2 other cards in hand, and they haven't played a land in multiple turns. If these were both lands, you'd think they'd play one of them by now, so... I can't outrace the lifelink, so I have to just, like, trade, even without modularing. That could help. Better to sack a Batter Fist here. Still have a land to play. I'll still have 5 mana up, so even my most expensive spell is castable, even if I discard this mountain. My most expensive spells being Sky Sovereign and Kellen and Arcbound Slasher, and yeah, then we hit 1. Okay. I think because of the 3-power lifelinker, we still have to be on blocks. I probably shouldn't have Batter Fisted, because now if they play 1 artifact, they trade. That was wrong. Just trying to be mana efficient instinctually. Oh, wow. Get max punish too? Come on. Well, that still would have got us, even if we hadn't put Batterfist there. They just attack with both and do it post-combat. They wouldn't have Justiciar anymore, at least. Oh, I forgot we had more discard. God dang it. It's 2 loose lines in a row that might have added up into losing this game. Only if Sky Sovereign is in the top 2 cards. I think any other card and we're still losing, but... I think at this rate we'll never know. So yeah, they wouldn't have the Justiciar anymore, but we would have still lost our Slasher. Take the Zabaz damage, then we could have discarded a card, drawn another card off the Mutt. I guess we can see what it would have been. Now discarding the Pirate instead. Goblin Engineer, like, yeah, these just aren't enough, regardless. 1 blocker, 5 life. They hit for 4, we get a 1. We don't have any Unearth left in the deck, I'm pretty sure, so this ability doesn't even matter. I guess we just put Mortar Pot in there because it's not a good draw. It's at least worse than all these 4. Give that flying chump block there, take 4. Okay. Well, I played that endgame out really poorly, but I don't think it mattered. We also drew way worse than our opponent. We would have had 1 extra draw if I had held the land for the Scrapwork Mutt, and I think we still would have died at pretty much the same pace at that point. I would have been at like... They wouldn't have had the Justiciar anymore, so we would have been at like 6 or 7 life or something, but they just played another creature there, so... Probably missed out on maybe 2, 3 draws maximum. Gotta remember that we've got Scrapwork Mutt. I played Demand Answers, and then I was like, alright, so we played our 1 discard spell. And then I gotta remember that Batterfist has downsides. The -1 toughness, definitely a real downside. This is a Snap Keep. Probably ditch the white spell to the Scrapwork Mutt to look for mana. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, let's just Batterfist into Kellen. We can equip Kellen next turn and attack for 1,000,000 damage if they don't immediately have removal. This is our 5th green-white deck in a row. Last deck was green-white-black, but still annoying to me. I like variety. This is not variety. Alright. If they don't capture by like Axe Kellen or something, then we just slam. Let's slam, baby! First strike 1, kill the other one with regular damage. I have to hold up Disenchant instead of playing Goblin Tomb Raider here, sadly. But there you go. Ka-ching! Cash money. Alright. Well. We're now 3-1 against pure green-white decks and 0-1 against green-white-black. All right. Let's head into round number 6 for our 6th game against green-white. All right, on the play. Ooh, our first Sky Sovereign. So we win, right? That's how this card works. When Sky Sovereign enters the battlefield, you win the game. Oh my god, it's not green-white. They started with an island. Now I don't know what to do. I have not practiced this matchup. I mean, Plundering Pirate into turn 4 Sky Sovereign has to be insane, right? We need them to play another creature because of the ward on the Automaton. We can't shoot that with Sky Sovereign next turn, but if they play another creature, turn 4 Sky Sovereign is absolutely the play. Cool. Chrome Courier, not the greatest creature in the world to kill, because it's got great enter the battlefield effect value anyway, and it's only a 1/1, but killing anything with Sky Sovereign is nutter butters. Ka-ching! Cash money, money. I could hold up a 6/5 on blocks by not attacking with Plundering Pirate, but I am fairly certain we're on the aggressive here when we have a Sky Sovereign sitting there. Like, unless they disenchant it. We are the aggressor, and we don't have to worry about our life total very much. Another Chrome Courier? Alright. Probably want to shoot that Automaton while we still can. Before it becomes 4 toughness. So we let the Chrome Courier stick around. Which means we need 2 mana up for the ward. So I can play Scrapwork Mutt and still have the 2 up. Yeah. Discard Demand Answers, draw 1. Okay, another land is useful. Ward 2? Yeah, Ward 2. I think with an equip cost here and an unearth cost and stuff, I'm going to play this land out rather than holding it to discard to a Scrapwork Mutt unearth. Alright, it doesn't matter. Sky Sovereign is a busted mythic, and so it does busted mythic things. We are now 4-2. Positive win rate no matter what. Breaking even on gems pretty much no matter what. Heading into round number 7. Sky Sovereign's back again, baby. See if we can't get a repeat of last game. Not gonna lie, this hasn't been the most fun draft in the world. Our last 2 wins just being play bomb mythic and opponent concedes. And our losses being like opponent plays huge synergy pieces and we don't have removal. Well, that was the first loss. Second one was just a top deck war loss. And some loose lines. Yeah, there's been a lot of non-games today. Both our victories and our defeats. Particularly our last 2 wins and our first loss. Didn't really have a lot of interaction going around. Another blue-white deck. There's the Staunch Crewmate for a nice little 2-for-1, but Monoskellion is very happy to see that 1 toughness card. Deadeye Plunder's really slow, but very beefy. That could be scary later. Let's say hello to the 1 toughness card. Hello. And we'll hit for 4. Ooh, another 1 toughness card, but we don't have ways to put counters on the Monoskellion. Well, now we do. We've got an Arcbound Tracker, I guess. I could play Barbed Spike, or I could play Tracker. Tracker gives me something to move my Batter Fist onto for the last mana. Hitting a 5th mana for Sky Sovereign's kind of insane though, right? So we should probably Barb Spike and just crack the clue. Yeah, that's probably the play. There it is. I could send in Monoskellion. 1-1 for 1-1 is not bad, but the Monoskellion goes ham if we get counters on it with Arcbound Tracker, so I'm just going to leave it around. Alright, 3rd mana from our opponent. They did miss a land drop here. Ooh, they've got 3 mana up for a Metallic Rebuke, potentially. I'm going to play around that. Sky Sovereign, like, we're in a great enough position here. We don't need to Sky Sovereign. And if it gets countered, that's going to be the most disappointing thing of the day. So let's go Arcbound Tracker Engineer this turn, which is going to cost all of my mana, which means we're not moving Batter Fist to get more damage in. We are just sending these in. Chrome Prowler. Hey, they tapped out a Rebuke, and we will just do our thing now. Bazinga. Show me that disenchant. That is not that disenchant. They can get a new 1-1 from the Puzzle Knot as probably their best play. Deadly Dispute and get a 1-1, or they can save the treasure for mana for next turn. They're going to save the treasure, go to 3. I'm just going to go for this, because like even if they board wipe us, we can just unearth a Scrapwork Mutt and kill them, and they just concede anyway. They don't have a board wipe in the deck, it looks like. And kind of another non-game of Magic is what it is, but that puts us to 5 wins in the money out of the draft no matter what, leaving with more gems than it costs to enter. I guess we take those. All right, here we are on the play again. Voltage Surge with the Perilous Mirror and Barbed Spikes is great. They like play a turn 1 Vault Scourge. I will Voltage Surge it, so I'm gonna go Mountain turn 1. Oh boy. That just needs to go away. I hate this card with a passion. We're throwing that in the garbage bin. Alright. Now the game has begun. We started with our Barbed Spike against a blue-black deck. Urza! Is the equipment or the Thopter better? Probably the Thopter is the more valuable card to keep around. I think so, because we'll still have the other Barbed Spike for an equipment. And a Batter Fist. Alright. Batter Fist is super bad with these 1 toughness cards, though, so that's awkward. I mean, I guess it's okay with Perilous Mirror, because then we just shock something if we need to. Turn lesson. All right, card draw. That doesn't impact the board, so we get to slam for 6. Boom. Perilous Mirror pass, keeping the mountain for our own card draw that makes us discard like Scrapwork Mutt. Ornithopter Paradise, some mana ramp there. Another land. Oof. Trading Perilous Mirror into Ornithopter, fine. feel like it is pretty fine. Got nothing else to do with my mana anyway. You're gonna respond with a combat trick on their Ornithopter? Ooh, disenchant the Batterfist. Interesting. Sure. Yeah, alright. Well, we know what our plays are if these are the draws. So at least things are simple. Not super bad. Oh, Deadly Dispute. Gross. Draw 2, get a treasure. Have the mana they need for whatever they drew. I really like their land choice. I love the Esper lands from, these were from Shards of Alara, these. Initially, they did reprint them in the M19 core set, but beautiful artwork. I love Chippy's artwork. Chippy did a lot of really cool artwork in the Shards of Alara, Lorwyn, and Shadowmoor era. When I was starting the game. Chrome Courier is very good at helping stabilize. It gains 2 life, it's big enough to kill a thing, and it digs for what you need, and now reverse engineer for the draw 2. I feel like we just drew dead. Maybe a little too long. I mean, at least they're tapped out, so we deal 4, but now they have a full grip at the ready. So, really feels stable from our opponent, but you never know what those cards are in their hand. They could be garbage, but if even a few of them are decent, I think I'd rather be in our opponent's position than ours. One card to 7. It's going to be a board wipe. That would be the most... That would make the most sense if they're going for an attack here. Either like a board wipe or they're conceding, but I would be incredibly surprised about that. Yeah, it is a board wipe. Fair enough. God, it gains them like 1,000,000 life, too. There's the engineer. I think I'm supposed to hit Scrapwork Mutt here, because if I pick up an Arcbound Tracker and they cast a single removal spell on Goblin Engineer, then I didn't get any value out of them. At least this way I get to dig. And if they can't kill Goblin Engineer, I'll get value out of them anyway. I have things to reanimate, just sacking a treasure. Could draw into demand answers, so I'll hold on to this. Probably just keep sacking Perilous Mirror. Makes a lot of sense. I could loop my barbed spikes for an endless supply of Thopters if I had an endless amount of turns, but obviously you never do. Deadly Dispute, even more card advantage. They're down to 14 cards. They've drawn 7 more than us. Wait, no, 9 more. I guess 8 at this point. Impressive. Impressive because we have drawn extra cards. Just 1, though, from the Scrapwork mutt. No, we drew 1 extra card and we tutored for a card and put it in the grave. So we drew 2 extra cards, technically. They've drawn, good lord, a whole lot. That's 8 more than us, so they've drawn like 10 extra cards this game. 1, 2... Oh no, because that milled one of them, so... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12... Oh my god, yeah. Just a really nice Esper control deck from our opponent. We get fumigated hard, yep, and then there's the win condition. Alright, well. Pretty over, but we can play it out. It's our last game of Magic for today. I've got double treasure. If I draw demand answers, I can sack a treasure to draw the 2. Oh, no, that's not dead yet. Still 1 more turn. Dead to removal. I don't think there's anything we draw that wins, though. Nope, that doesn't even kill anything. Alright. Disappointing ending for sure. Honestly, a disappointing draft on the whole. The win rate was good. We're leaving with more gems than we entered, but it wasn't very fun. I did not enjoy any of those losses, and I only enjoyed like a couple of those wins. Because most of the wins were just opponents conceding because we played a bomb, and a couple of those losses were just big, drawn out games where we lost the top deck war in the second one, and the third one was like we got board wiped, and it's like the game's essentially over, but we get to sit there for another 10 turns watching the control deck take over. So, not particularly fun gameplay today, even when we were winning, as I said before, with the Kellen Sky Sovereign bombs and stuff, so I don't know. Relatively boring deck, even if it's just a solid 5-win run, relatively boring games of Magic. But solid value, so I guess we take those. We'll absolutely take it here. Post-mortem on the deck, any really big under or overperformers, anything I would have done drastically differently? Not really. Stuff felt like variance for the most part. Right? Like, the games where we won really hardcore, it wasn't like we played super well or anything. It's just like we played mega bombs, or we curved out aggressively against a slower deck. And the games that we lost was like, we definitely could have played out the second loss a lot better. That top deck war, we would have had time to have seen like 3 more cards or something, like 3 more draw steps before we died. We would probably still lose at the rate of which we were drawing spells versus the rate they were drawing spells, but every extra turn is just another chance to maybe hit something huge. So the second loss played perfectly, could have maybe turned into a victory. So that'd be the biggest thing here. Not really like drafting things, but gameplay wise, the batter fists we played with pretty poorly. So making sure not to equip the batter fists when they're unnecessary is pretty important. It can be very instinctual to just be like, well, I have the extra mana left over, so I should equip the equipment. And that is true the vast majority of the time. With cards like Barbed Spike, with cards like Mortar Pod, you should always just equip if you have the extra mana and you're not using it on anything. But the fact that this does give -1 toughness means there's a genuine downside to using your extra mana to throw that on something, like when we threw the Batter Fist onto the Arcbound Slasher, because then it died to -4/-4, and it would have died if they had played an artifact and attacked in with a 4/3 instead of a 3/2. So even on board, it was a pretty bad play, and it ended up playing horrifically for us since they had -4/-4 removal in hand. Then it just played really, really bad. So yeah, that was the big misplay of the day. The big learning moment is the Batter Fist is not something you want to auto-equip every time. You always have to think about it. Unlike other equipment, where if it's sitting there unequipped and you have the extra mana, you just throw it on there. It's strictly an upside. So I guess that was the only big thing. Outside of that, super happy with the deck. I think we drafted a real solid deck today. I think it played out very powerfully. And I think basically everything else gameplay-wise, the cards were going to fall where they did, wins and losses. Just got board wiped really hard. We Sky Sovereign some people really hard. It all was what it was. And it's going to be 5 and 3 for today's draft. Very solid value. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.